All right, Shalom. When I say call, Halal, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. Double honor to the apostles and elders at GMS to rule well. Peace and blessings to the Akim that's out there fighting, doing this work with truth and sincerity. Back here again with another lesson. Lord willing, this is edifying to the elect men out there that's listening and watching these videos. Just a quick lesson through spirit and power, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. I've been listening to Elder Pastor Hard video, just one big Jake, big greasy t-shirt, chip t-shirt wearing, talking about he used to be a Hebrew Israelite, Deuteronomy 28:68, whatever, right? And now before I was listening to this video, I was just thinking about that, like, because me and the brothers over the weekend, we fellowship. And it's something I was talking to a brother, and I was just contemplating, thinking like they saying that the slave ships didn't exist, or whatever the case may be, but that slavery never happened. And I'm thinking about it like, what nation of people that you know on the planet was put on cargo slave ships, and what nation of people you know that don't know their heritage, don't know where they come from? But all these heathen, like the so-called Chinese, so-called African, so-called, like they all know a little bit about their background and who they are, whatever the case may be. But when it comes to the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans waking up to the true biblical Israelites that the Bible speaks of, that's a problem. So we just was exist. So we was here. So we just was put here out of thin air and have no existence, don't have no heritage, don't have no identity, don't have anything. But the minute the so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American man call themselves a Hebrew Israelite, then that's a problem. But then when you read the book of Deuteronomy 28, chapter 6 to 8, like Elder Apostle Hart say, that's the hook. Because every Negro, like so-called Negro, Latino, and Native American know about the slave ship. You know that shit exists. Who else is that talking about? What group of people is that talking about? The so-called Chinese didn't come over here on slave ships. The so-called Africans didn't come over here on slave ships. The so-called East Indians, they flying over here or catching a boat. What nation through history, out of all history, that was put on cargo slave ships and sold into slavery? Who? What other nation on the planet was packed like sardines on a cargo slave ship and shipped to the shores of America? No, other slavery happened throughout the world, right? The transatlantic slave trade. Let's speak about that. Who was those people? The so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You had some so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American, they was already over here. They was in slavery throughout our time as being an Israelite, man. You see? But then when the so-called white man came to the shores of America, he started deleting the Native Americans, and it just started deleting them, man. Taking them back over there, England and different places. So out of all the nations on the planet, and there's 18 nations, what nation was put on cargo slave ships, sold into slavery, and still walk around not knowing their identity on who they are, man? It's the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. That's why it says right here, Deuteronomy 28:68, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, because we was over in ancient Egypt under the thumb and rule of Pharaoh. You see? Egypt bondage. We was in captivity when Moses and Aaron came to deliver through the power of Yahweh Shema Shai, the nation of Israel. It was all the tribes. And the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships, by the way whereof I spake unto thee, that thou shalt see it no more again, and there shall you be sold unto your enemies. Who was sold unto their enemies on auctioning blocks? Getting sprayed by the water hose, and why they let the German shepherds eat up on our people, man? Explain that. Who? So like Apostle Hart said, this is the hook. Deuteronomy 28:68 is the hook. To make you be like, damn, you know what? That did happen. Nigga, show me a motherfucking Chinese motherfucker person getting sprayed with a water hose back in the 60s and the 50s and the 30s and 40s and having dogs sicked upon them. Now, so-called white man did, all kind of shit he did to them too. But still, what nation of people were brought on cargo slave ships? You see? Thou shalt see it no more again, and there shall you be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, meaning save you or redeem you, man. Until this day, we still in the land of our captivity, man. We in the hand of our captives right now. But you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you can't think past your nose and you don't see it, man. But you want to forget about it. That was old. Get over it. Look at us now. We got opportunities now. You still don't fucking get it. You mentally fried in the head, man. You're mentally fried. You're spiritually, mentally fried in the head. You got noodles for brain. Your brain is straight noodles from the chemicals and cigarettes and religion, pork, bad diet, parasites, demons. For you not to understand and look at this right here and know that, damn, our ancestors did go through that. So we got to be those people, man. You got to be those people. And then right here, that's why, I try to find some images because you'd like to forget. Go to cargo slave ship right there. Real quick. Exodus. One of my favorites. Exodus 21:16. Jake is bugged out, man. Then it says, Exodus 21:16, and he that stealeth a man, I just read to you, that's those were sold for bondmen and bondwomen. We were sold into our enemies. And brought over to the shores of America at the end of the day. And yet we are still here. We are the children. Well, to go even deeper, we are them in the back of the reincarnation, but that's Jake too simple-minded, man. Wisdom too high for a fool, man. It won't enter into a malicious soul. And he that stealeth a man and selleth him, bondman, bondwomen, Deuteronomy 28:68 is the hook. This links up with that. He that stealeth a man and selleth him, or if he be found in his hand, he shall surely be put to death. You see? That's why all the things are happening on the planet Earth today, because the Lord is coming back with vengeance, man, to repay this devil for all the things and the atrocities that he did towards the Lord's people at the end of the day. You see? We are the true biblical Hebrew Israelites that the Bible speaks of. We were scattered throughout the four corners of this planet for being disobedient and being causing a great offense towards our power by following after these heathen nations and their so-called gods and their idols and get into witchcraft and so on and so forth, man. So therefore, he sold us into the hand of our enemies, man, which is the Lord's enemies as well. That's talking about you, man. We are the true biblical Israelites that the Bible speaks of. And it says, surely be put to death, man. Get that in the NLT. Now, let's get over here in Baruch. See, also, that links up to Ezekiel chapter 37, go to, can these dry bones live? Meaning, the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans was wandering around spiritually dead, not knowing who they are, not knowing where they come from, not knowing why they in the condition that they're in. That's why those dry bones goes to the Israelites who've been scattered because of disobedience and the great offense that we caused before our power. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, which is Yahweh and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, man. So right here in the book of Deuteronomy, in the book of Baruch, chapter, let's go down to the point. Now this is in the Apocrypha. This is the book of the book of Baruch 2:33. And return from and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. That's what's happening before you right now. Is that the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans are waking up in the land of what it says, in the land of their captivity, right? And we shall think upon the name. So we was once those dry bones who didn't have a clue about anything. Now the Lord blew that breath, the spirit, which make us to come alive. And now we start to understand who we are and come back. You start to hear clicking in the bones, meaning that Jake's starting to wake up and casting and putting on their identity. Because when you read the book of Jeremiah 17:4, he shall discontinued our heritage because of the disobedience. Can those dry bones live? Now they're starting to wake up, and we at the end of this thing. So it says, and they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. That's what you're seeing happening before you today. We are praising Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shah through faith. And it says, in return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, because we was out here wilding. So therefore we returning back and we are repenting into our power, man. Asking for forgiveness every single day throughout the day. Every day. Not a day or hour damn near that go by that brother that's truthfully, man, sorrowful in the spirit and repentful. Every man, Lord, please forgive me for what I've done. You know, that's those people, that's those dry bones, those people that's coming back and thinking upon the name of Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, in the land of their captivity, where the cargo slave ships came to, over here. You see? And return from their stiff neck, because we was hard-headed. He said, don't eat this, don't do that. We went against it. Being hard-headed, thinking we know the way, right? And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. You see? That's what's happening right now, man. Oh, let me read up to 30. Salaki, Baruch 2 and 30. For I knew that they would not hear me, because it is a stiff-necked people. Jake, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Americans are hard-headed. Period. But in the land of their captivities, they shall remember themselves. And that's us coming back, those dry bones that's been given the breath, the spirit, which quickens you, which make you alive, to think upon the name of the Lord in our captivity, man. That's us. You can't be a Hebrew Israelite and say, well, I was part of it. I'm not a Hebrew Israelite anymore. Listen, you're a Hebrew Israelite. There's nothing you could do about that. You didn't create yourself and make yourself. That's why the Lord said the 144,000, 1/3 of some men, women, and children are going to return unto him, because 2/3 of his people are not going to repent. They're going to go and be stubborn continually until they meet their fate at the end of the day. When all hell break loose, when famine come, you see, you're not going to be able to, you're not going to have no protection. You or your loved ones, your children, your uncles, your aunts, your grandfather, grandmother, cousins, so on and so forth. Because we come into some dangerous times and perilous times, meaning dangerous again. That's why the Lord sent his men, beginning with the apostles and elders and the bishops and the men on down, to go out and teach and give you the report. To explain to you, this is the way ye go, walk ye in it. Turn you back to the old paths. Because you keep thinking you leading the right life you want to lead, but look how you living. Look at your diet all messed up. You got parasites throughout your body. You can't think straight. You're on drugs. You're still trying to get accepted in this so-called white man society, and it's not even happening for you. It ain't happened yet. So you need to turn from your ways and repent. But you don't want to accept the fact that you're Israelite. You have no choice. You are Hebrew Israelite, and so therefore, by you being disobedient to your calling, then guess what? The Lord is visiting you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, and it's going to be epic and known the days to come that, look, you should have been repenting and paying attention, other than being hard-headed, man. You see? And shall know that I am the Lord, their power, for I will give them an heart and ears to hear, meaning a mind, spiritually, to hear when he's speaking, because he speaks through his men. That's why he set up the apostles and the elders and the bishops and the men on down to come unto you, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. And they shall praise me in the land of their captivity and think upon my name. That's what you're seeing happening. That's prophecy, man. This is what's happening right here, right now. And return from their stiff neck and from their wicked deeds, for they shall remember the way of their fathers, which sinned before the Lord. This is happening right now at this very exact same time, man. At this time. You see? So the hook is Deuteronomy 28:68, man. There's a lot of hooks in the scriptures, meaning to prove that we Hebrew Israelites, you know what I'm saying? But nonetheless, when you read that, it's like, wait a minute, what ships came? So the people that was on those ships, they came to, yes, they were Israelites. You see? It was you, man. You can't denounce it. Yeah, you can denounce it. When you go die without wisdom, you're still an Israelite because you're going to come back in the kingdom, but you're going to have a horrific death over on this side and in these times, man. Dangerous time to come, which proves you're going to take the C-hip and all that. The RFID. That's spoken of in the book of Revelation, chapter 13. The book of Revelation, chapter 13. The mark of the beast. You see? So the Lord is sending out the report to his people, but yet Jake still twiddling their thumbs, thumbing their nose up at the truth. Okay, well, keep doing so. And when the Lord come knocking, don't say you haven't been warned or told so. So Lord willing, I hope this was edifying. Until the next time, I shall say, Shalom.